Welcome to the GTN show. This week we have a whole lot of news, including several new races that have been announced and also some athletes, especially some notable ones, announcing their plans for 2023, including none other than Jan Frodeno, who has mentioned this is his final season as a pro.
Yeah, we'll also be talking about some latest research and advice on the use of carbon running shoes. And we've got a giveaway for some tickets to join GTN at the Global Bike Festival in Saalbach, Austria. Well, first of all, as usual, we're going to kick off with some reacts. So things we've spotted on social media the past week, and there's quite a lot of stuff that's happened, actually. First of all, Joachim Berger, who has been with Specialized for the last couple of years, announced that he was leaving Specialized a while back and has just announced that he is riding on Scott.
Yeah.
And quite a fun photo of him in bed with his Scott.
I like the way he's played with that. I mean, it makes a change from athletes having blacked out pictures of their bikes and then suddenly revealing the bike. But yeah, nice one. Well done him. This next one from Heather Jackson, and this is quite an interesting post. She's stood on the podium here at the Black Canyon Ultra without a golden ticket. Now, actually, she was given a golden ticket to race the Western States 100 by Hoka, but didn't announce it at the time because she wanted to go to prove that she was good enough to actually get one herself and kind of feel like she was going there credibly. So hence why she wasn't given the ticket here, because she actually already had it, but now she's announcing it. So that's really cool in her first year of racing ultras.
Yeah, fair play to her. That's very cool. And the big one, Jan Frodeno has announced his race plan for 2023, as well as also, although it was kind of rumoured anyway, that this will be his last big season of racing. Gearing up, obviously, to the Ironman World Championships in Nice in September. But he's kicking it off with Ironman 70.3 Oceanside in April, then into the PTO European Open in May, which we have some news for very shortly. The Ironman European Champs in Hamburg in June, and then the PTO US Open in August. So, yeah. Pretty packed. Yeah,
some big races, aren't there? So let's hope he can get to all of those injury-free and ready to show his best finale year. Also, Alistair Brownlee has just announced his first race of the year, racing at South Africa, which looks like it's going to be a big lineup and our first sort of full Ironman of the season. It's always quite exciting to see who's racing at that. And at the moment, we've got Leon Chevalier, Clement Mignon, Rasmus Svensson, and pro cyclist Cam Worth. And the women's side so far, Laura Philippe and Fenella Langridge are going to be lining up on the start.
Very cool. Also spotted Daniela shouting about her new bike and paintwork for that bike. And yeah, it's on obviously the Felt IA 2.0, which we've featured before. But that's a pretty cool paintwork, isn't it? I do like that.
Yeah, it is very swish indeed. Kind of similar colourways and patterns here as we move on to our next post with his kit, Sam Long. But it's not about his kit, it's about his coaching choice. Now, Sam Long made a post recently talking about how he watches all the other athletes doing a lot of science, especially I think he looks towards the Norwegians for their developments and the work that they're doing with their coach and their bigger team, and kind of feeling like he was missing out and maybe needing to step up. But it was interesting because it wasn't that long ago that he'd announced he was going to go without a coach, wasn't it? So I think he's still trying to find his feet, and he has now announced that he is working with Dan Plews from Endure IQ. Now, Dan also worked with Chelsea Sodaro, and I think since then his inbox has probably been rather full.
Very cool. Also, we spotted this nifty bit of tech from Body Rocket, who we featured on the channel before, particularly around Kona. We did a big in-depth feature behind all their components that they'd been using with the Norwegians, actually. And now this is called the Shuffle Cam. So this attaches off the seat post of the bike and seems to have some sort of sensors that sensing movement of these nodes that kind of placed on the behind of the athlete.
So polite.
Obviously, this isn't intended for use during racing and a full-time use, but it's more, I guess, for monitoring and just honing in your position on the bike.
I was wondering where you're going to go with this, so yeah, what use this camera might have. But yeah, I like the hashtag forever butt photos. The next one is kind of not yet a story, but almost a story. Bahrain Victorious have just released a teaser. And by the time the show comes out, you never know, they might have announced the next 3 athletes to join their team. They currently have 10 members of the famous 13 team, and they've got silhouettes, cutouts of the 3 athletes. So
are you going to take any guesses?
We've been having a look, haven't we? What do you
It's
think?
hard. I mean, I feel like Hayden is an obvious, although the silhouettes just
Physique,
don't maybe match up. There is one at the end, female, and it's got a big resemblance to Kat Matthews, I feel, but I don't know.
You're leaking. We didn't start the rumours here, but let us know what you think. Yeah, in the comments below. I mean, you might well know, like I say, it might be out there by the time this comes out, but who knows.
Also this weekend we had Seville Marathon, and we saw quite a few triathletes over there racing. Some notable ex-pros though, were Callum Johnson, who was a British triathlete, short distance triathlete, ran a whopping 2:13, so very impressive. Brad Carterfelt ran a 2:19, and Tyler Butterfield a 2:24.
Yeah.
Fair play. Good going.
Inspiring stuff, I think,
really
seeing
good.
athletes at the later stages of their career running so fast. There's definitely encouragement for all of us. We've also got one now going from long distance back to short distance. Kyle Smith, having had a great long course season last year, is getting back to the fast stuff and has just raced the Oceania Triathlon Cup in Wanaka. And he actually says it was what did he call it? Not the B race, but the smaller race ahead of Challenge Wanaka. And it certainly looked like it was fast and furious.
He ended up actually having a sprint finish with
I
Taylor
saw
Reid.
the times. Look at the finish times.
And taking, second ahead of Taylor Reid. It was Callum Mikulski that took the win there. On the women's side, it was Nicole van der Kay that took the win. But yeah, very impressive from Kyle to be able to just jump back into short distance racing. I know he's being very sort of humble there. You know, he got his, probably suggesting that he got his ass handed to him, but actually, I mean, to go from long distance to short distance and mix it up with
and having to have a sprint finish. I think the top three men all with a second each. So exciting racing, very different to Ironman, that's for sure. We've also spotted Kat Matthews making the headlines here in the UK newspapers. The Telegraph have done an interesting article just looking at her last sort of 6 months since her injury and her recovery. And Kat's jokingly sort of posted a little few clips from it, questioning how she might maybe have been described or described herself. Follow her Instagram for a few insights on that one.
And finally, we've also got this clip that some of you have probably seen on social media the past few days. It was Tom Pidcock racing in the Algarve, in the TT stage, actually, of the racing out in Algarve, where he seemingly overshot a corner, went in with far too much speed, in classic Pidcock style, managed to unclip and make use of the mud bank ahead of him off the road and kind of almost use it like a berm and get back onto the road on a TT bike and then just carry on. It's kind of mind-blowing, isn't it?
Good skills, for sure.
Very impressive. And also, it's been a number of weeks since we've updated or had a little check-in and update from Steve McKay, our Hawaii to 5-0, although it's not really Hawaii anymore, athlete. So he has been hard at training. He's had a couple of niggles on the way, but it's time to get a bit of an update from him.
So this is my first couple of runs after having COVID, fortunately. So it's been 2 weeks since I was feeling a bit sketchy. Turns out, I had COVID all through Christmas. So I had 2 weeks literally doing nothing. What I've done, I've started really slowly doing like a kind of run walk. No matter where you look about getting back to fitness after having COVID, everything says the same, really. Just about taking it really steady for the first few runs, which I'm doing. That's got a double benefit because I was actually going to do a run walk just to kind of ease my knee back into it, which obviously feels great because I haven't run for 2 weeks. So this is me just slowly getting back to it.
On to Tri News now, and there's a big race announcement from the PTA. They've been teasing for a while the new European Open. Now, it's been announced that it's going to be held on the 6th of May in Ibiza, and it's actually part of the World Triathlon Multisport World Championship. So it's running alongside that, a little bit like the way the Collins Cup did over in San Marino last year. Now, this makes up the series of the PTO Opens. They've obviously got the USA Open, which was announced as being in Milwaukee on the 4th to the 5th of August, and also in Singapore for the Asian Open on the 19th and 20th of August. And we're still waiting for that announcement on the Collins Cup later in the year.
Yeah, Ibiza is a very cool venue, isn't it?
Yeah, I think a lot of Europeans will be going, yeah, let's go for a good race and a good party.
Running past Pasha. Yeah, and obviously Jan, as we've just mentioned, has already signed up, so waiting to hear some other notable athletes that will be doing that. We've also, after a recent PTO athlete board meeting, got a few PTO tour updates too. So the PTO European and US Opens will now focus on the top 30 women and men based on the PTO World Rankings at the time. And then for the already announced PTO Asian Open, that'll focus on the top 20 women and men. In terms of the prize fund for the PTO Opens in 2023, there'll be a $600,000 US prize purse per event, with 100,000 going to the winner, 50,000 to second, and 35,000 to third. And finally, the $2 million prize purse for the PTO World Rankings that's split out at the end of the year will now be split to amongst the top 50 female and top 50 men.
Well, on the topic of races, Super League Triathlon have actually just acquired 2 new events to add to their roster. They've just, from Lifetime Fitness, acquired the New York Triathlon and the Chicago Triathlon, adding to Malibu Tri, which they already have, which means they now have the 3 longest running and largest participation events in USA Triathlon for this short distance. So it's interesting to see the company sort of going more into events as opposed to just looking at the elite short distance racing. And actually, the CEO and co-founder Michael Jules says that this actually underlines their transition as we grow from being more than a rights holder in elite sport, but delivering mass participation events. It shows our commitment to make short course racing cool again in the US via a strategy that engages and excites participants. Well, it is quite exciting, and it'll be interesting to see how that influences across the world in triathlon.
Very exciting. Also moving on then, we've got All Quiet on the Western Front, which we mentioned a number of weeks back, a film that you can watch on Netflix or other streaming services. I would fully recommend it. I've watched it. I know you've got partway through and found it a little bit overwhelming, but in a great way. I didn't stop
because it wasn't good. It was just too good and too much for me to kind of process.
So this is a screen adaptation of the 1928 book, but this has been now written by 5-time world triathlon champion Leslie Patterson, and has gained now 9 Academy Awards and 14 BAFTA nominations, including Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Cinematography, Best Film Not in the English Language, Best Original Score, Best Sound, Best Director, Best Film. It's really impressive how well this film was done, and for a triathlete to kind of just sidestep into this and just do so well is just incredible.
And the fact you've been working on it for so long, it's, you know, one of those projects you just probably,
I think
in her wildest dreams,
14 years her and her partner have been working on it, along with obviously many others, I'm sure. But
amazing.
Hats off.
Let me introduce our guest presenter for today. Meet Baz. Now, Baz is actually here because we are talking about bones, in particular bone stresses, in relation to carbon-plated shoes. Now, I think we're all in agreement that we've seen huge increase in performances with those runners wearing carbon-plated running shoes. But could they be leading to an increase in injury? We touched lightly on the topic when we looked at the truth behind carbon running shoes, but there's still not that much evidence on this area.
Okay, we still unfortunately don't have any hard evidence or data to go off here, but Adam Tenfort, Tim Honing, Emil Saxena and Karsten Hollander have investigated the altered biomechanics as a result of carbon fibre plated footwear. And they've created a current opinion article, so basically pulling together a lot of the resources and information out there, and illustrated by a case series of athletes that have been wearing carbon fibre plated footwears and ended up with some bone stress injuries. And they've reported that runners using carbon fibre plated footwear were observed to have decreased cadence and correspondingly longer steps, as well as longer flight time, which is something I think we can all understand. No changes in knee or hip mechanics, but differences in ankle and metatarsophalangeal joint mechanics were observed. Peak ankle dorsiflexion during stance and peak ankle moments were reduced, and lower negative and positive ankle work were observed in carbon fiber plated footwear over standard competitive footwear during running. And this is where I think we now need to pull in our physio, Heather.
Yeah, well, so they're talking about the changes in this joint here, so between the phalanges and the metatarsal, and it's just basically this part of your hand, that's sort of the ball part of your foot which you feel you push off on, and they're saying that the shoe is actually causing that as the fulcrum, so that's where you're rocking forwards, and hence why some running gaits will be better suited to these types of shoes, or people are altering their gait, is more what they're saying. They're also saying changes in the ankle biomechanics, and obviously the foot is made up of a huge amount of bones, but the one that they've been noting as actually kind of giving the symptoms and actually causing the problem is the navicular bone in here. Now, this bone is notorious for having very poor circulation, and it seems to be the bone that is kind of, I guess, suffering from this change in biomechanics, or this quick change in biomechanics of the foot.
Yeah, now I think this is really interesting, given obviously the boom in carbon fiber plated running shoes and the fact we're all using them, but there has been very little information out there and guidance as to how to use them, and we may be seeing more injuries, so it's kind of good to kind of try and start pulling together some of this information. Now, this actually brings a bit of similarity back to when minimalist running shoes became quite popular, and as a result they saw a bit of an increase in injuries as a result of that, and that led to companies bringing about some guidance as to how you should progressively start to use those minimalist running shoes and start to gradually build up your use of them. And I guess maybe they're suggesting that we should adopt a similar approach with carbon fiber plated running shoes, as they are altering our biomechanics.
Yeah, I think they were looking at very much, people are potentially going and doing all their runs suddenly in these shoes. But I personally look at the cost aspect before you even look at the health. If you're, using your expensive $200 shoes in every run, they're not going to last. They're not going to last as long. So yeah, I guess the main take home is, like anything, when you're changing anything within running, you need to do it gradually. And the exact same thing goes whether you're using a minimalist shoe or you're using a carbon plated shoe. And like we said, there's still not the evidence of exactly how it is changing and how it's going to affect every person. But it's just going about your training in the same theory that you use for all of your triathlon training or all of your running training, and building everything in gradually.
Good stuff. Cheers, Baz. Well, following on with some more tech news, Under Armour have released these. I'm not really sure what I make of them.
They're for you. They've been designed. I think you've been in collab here secretly.
They're called the Slip Speed. So they are basically a slip-on trainer with BOA lacing, like a glorified Croc. And they're not necessarily marketed to triathletes, but maybe they are a game-changing tri shoe. They're no more crushed heels as you're trying to squeeze your foot into a shoe. Just slip those feet in, crank that BOA, and away you go. Yeah, not sure.
Yeah, well, we'll see. You never know. There might be someone mad enough to try them, Mark, in a future triathlon. Our final piece of tech news comes from Strava, and on their recommended routes section of the app, they're now going to be using photos to accompany these routes. And they're not just any old photos, they're your photos. Yes, unless you selected the privacy part on the app saying you don't want your photos to be shared, then they can be drawing your photos to add to these routes to basically help people with their planning and see exactly what the riding or the running terrain is going to look like. They do promise that there won't be any images of faces or kit if that's included in those pictures. So we just have to hope that their algorithm is hot enough on that one.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's faces that I'd be worried about. Interesting feature though.
It's the best part of the show. It is giveaway time, and you might have heard us on the last couple of shows talking about the Global Bike Festival to be held in June, 15th to 18th of June in Saalbach, Austria, where...
Not Australia.
Yes, as Mark has now managed, I think, third show in a row. He's got
that
one. He's not going to be flying to Australia, but we will be heading out to Austria along with our brother and sister channels, GMBN and GCN. And we are offering some tickets to give away today. So actually, the first prize is a ticket for two for the weekend festival, including 3 nights of half-board accommodation, plus transport for your bike there and back again.
Wow. 5 runners-up also will receive Global Bike Festival tickets, including 2 weekend festival tickets with the Ride Pass. And that's all coming to a close this Friday at 10 a.m. GMT. So if you would like to enter into that, go to the description just down below, click on that link, and you can head on over to that giveaway page. And the winners will be announced on the GCN, GMBN, and EMBN and GMBN Outdoor shows on the week commencing 27th of February. Best of luck.
And now on to race news. And it was just Challenge Wanaka on the weekend over in New Zealand. And very competitive field at the top, actually. The men's race was won by Jack Moody, Mike Phillips in second, and Sebastian Keeney on his, is it discontinued tour he's calling it? Or not discontinued, his retirement tour, on the podium in third place there. The women's race was won by Grace Deck, Els Visser second, and in third place it was Rebecca Clark.
I'm not sure how Sebi's going to feel about being discontinued.
Is that not what he's calling
maybe.
it?
Is that how
he's got this series and his whole year is about, but maybe I've got the wrong D. It definitely begins with D.
Probably, yeah.
I might be.
You're probably
I might
right.
have to reply to lots of comments after this if I got it wrong. Anyway.
But it was great also at Challenge Wanaka to see the Race Ranger draft busting device back in action after the Trango Half a couple of weeks ago. And it was very well received by the likes of Sebastian Keeney.
I'll definitely gonna promote it like big time. For me, it worked absolutely perfectly.
Oh, like it's a faultless system, mate. For us, it's total no-brainer.
It's absolutely the perfect tool for the perfect time.
And Race Ranger are actually at the moment searching for some outside investment. So if anyone out there has got a few pennies to rub together, then get in touch with the guys at Race Ranger or in the comment section down below if you want to express some interest. Because yeah, it's I think it's fair to say a very exciting part and thing happening in our sport right now. Moving on, this weekend we also had the UCI Esports World Championships, which were held on the new Scotland map, which we actually got to experience a couple of weeks ago.
We did.
On the same format against GCN and GMBN. If you haven't watched those videos already, check ours out on our channel or the others over on GCN. And this weekend, yeah, as I say, it was on that same map, just a lot faster. So it's Denmark's Bjorn Andresen that took a commanding win after being very strategic over the first couple of races and then just launched off from the start in the third and just held on for dear life. And then in the women's race, it was Netherlands' Loes de Geest that took her second consecutive UCI Esports World Championship win. So very well done to both of them.
Yeah, we spotted a couple of triathletes. Lizzie Brooke, who you might remember actually from doing the run leg in the Challenge Salou relay, which I took part in back last April. But she's actually even more incredible on the bike than she is at running, and she finished 11th, which for an age group athlete is incredibly impressive. I think she's very proud of herself, and so she should be. And also Jimmy Kershaw had a great experience. He said gave it all and pretty chuffed to be 64th in the world as working a full-time job. So I think it's just really great opportunity to give these athletes that platform to be able to race alongside the pros.
Yeah, definitely. Talking of which, on a slightly different format, we've got the Arena Games this weekend, and we've got Lionel Sanders. He's going to be taking on the short course guys.
He's brave.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah, I think a lot of us, I feel slightly guilty that I want to watch it because I want to see him struggle a little bit, which is, I think that's part of the attraction, you know, and he's not being arrogant about this. He's being really open. And in fact, he's actually said that if he swims his absolute best, or probably a personal best, he's still going to be 20 seconds behind the group over a 200-metre swim. And there's only a 4K bike. Admittedly, there's no turns or no kind of skills required other than sheer power. It's still a big ask.
Yeah, I did like that he ended it all with a bit of fighting talk, saying, I don't even know who all these guys are, I just want to beat them all. Love it.
Nice.
And now time to take a look through some of the photos and videos that you guys have sent in to us. First one from Sasha in Thun, Switzerland. This picture was taken right at the end of my recovery ride on a sunny Sunday with my dad. And that is a stunning setting. And also the roads you're on are absolutely incredible.
It's dry and flat and straight, and you've got mountains to look at in the distance. What more do you want?
Is that like a disused runway or something?
Yeah, it does look like something like that, doesn't it?
Very lucky. And also a little video for us. Very cool. Next one from Simeon from Somerset. And he said, what happens when you don't get the dismount right? And he titles this, The Ministry of Funny Running. Yeah, definitely been there. Have done that myself before. Well, thank you very much for sending all of those in this week. If you would like to send us any photos or videos of you tri training, pain caves, whatever you like, you can use the photo upload links on screen right now, or go to the description just down below to find that link too.
Well, now it's caption competition time, and surprisingly, I was away last week, and no one is admitting who actually put this picture in the show, but I know James was definitely one of those responsible, but he didn't take it. Anyway, I've got over it now. Let's look at your...
I was also on holiday as well, so couldn't possibly be me.
all these alibis. I mean, I'm not buying them, but anyway, on to the actual suggestions, and our first runner-up comes from Linda Chuong. Says, James or Mark? I can beat them both anytime.
Underdog Triathlete said, although Heather's biking and running form are both immaculate, she should stand to brush up on her technique in the YMCA.
Yeah, I mean, my dancing technique anyway, let's not even go there. Ivan Cochrane says, hey Heather, I placed a bet against you for the next time you compete against James in a non-nutrition Ironman. Do you think it was a good investment? Well, I'll get back to you. I don't really want to try that again, so I'm not going to let you know.
Next from Dominic McCann. Is it 3-2-1 action or 3-2 action? This is quite topical, actually, because we do have this debate in our team sometimes.
What? Okay, I'm ready. Is ready? Or does that mean we start talking then? Sorry, I don't know who's editing this one. Anyway, next we have comic book guy, Striker Pose. Heather unsuccessfully attempts to recreate Madonna's Vogue video.
How does that go then?
Well... I can't exactly remember the video, but there is some weird story that I did once kind of try to be Madonna in that music video on national television. But I'm saying no more.
And it's on YouTube somewhere, probably.
I'm saying no
we could
more.
all Google.
And I don't think that person knew that, but it's a slightly
there
weird...
for public
Who's
viewing.
comic book guy? Does comic book guy know? Anyway, let's move on. What's the fault? Who's our winner? That's not our winner.
It should be. The winning one is Bethany Blount, who said, you'll never believe how big this hill was. Or was it this big?
Well, I think that's quite apt, as we were in Tenerife and there were a lot of big hills, and we even raced up the steepest hill in Tenerife, in fact. So make sure you check out that video. But
you raced up it?
We didn't race up it at all, did we? We just tried to... Well, I guess it was a competition. I tried to go further than James. And I'm not going to tell you any more than that, because otherwise you won't want to watch the video. But anyway, it's Bethany who's won. So congratulations, Bethany. Get in touch and we will get a cap or a bottle sent out to you.
Right, now for this week's Caption Comp photo, it's actually an oldie. It's from Ironman Copenhagen from, I think, 2018 or 2019, with a horse walking across the racecourse. I'm going to start this one off by saying, when I said I need a little more horsepower, I wasn't meaning that.
That's a good one. Well, I think
it's one of my better ones.
I reckon quite a few are going to be frustrated that you've found the best. Well, you guys see if you can actually beat Mark this week. You know what to do. Leave your caption suggestions in the comment section below, and that does bring this week's show to a close. We've got a video on Zone 2 coming up. In fact, titled "Why Is Everyone?" or maybe it should be GTN talking about Zone 2. Keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, also do check out the GTN shop if you'd like to get hold of some jumpers, t-shirts, towels, you name it, over on the GTN shop. Whilst you're here, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe and check out that steepest hill climb video
Not a race.
that we've just been talking about. That wasn't a race, but kind of was a race.